Anthony Joseph Zerilli is the man at the center of the FBI's latest search for Jimmy Hoffa. Joseph Zerilli says in a new manuscript that Hoffa was hit over the head with a shovel and buried alive on this land.
Hey guys, how are you today? If you're new to my channel, I welcome you. If you're returning, welcome back. Usually how I start, that's how I'm starting today. Now, I am in another cemetery. Surprise, surprise. Big shocker, right? And if you watch my channel or you subscribe, you know I have visited gangster sites and graves all over the country. From Mount Carmel in Chicago, where Capone, Giancana are buried, to St. John in Queens, where Lucky Luciano, Gotti, a number of mobsters are buried. Well, today we are right in Detroit, Michigan, and we're going to talk about the Detroit partnership and the boss of bosses. We're going to talk about the Zerillis. Now, we're going to talk about Joe Old Man Zerilli, who helped form the Detroit partnership here in Detroit, and his son Tony Z, who took over for Old Man Zerilli in 1970. Now, the Zerillis were actually brought into the case about Hoffa. I'll tell you a little bit about that because Tony Z ended up turning on Blackjack Toko.
Hope they'll be able to find the body
later on, and the FBI dug up part of Blackjack Toko's property looking for Hoffa or the weapon. But we are in a cemetery here in Detroit. We're out Mount Olivet, and we are going to look for the grave of Joseph Old Man Zerilli and Tony Z. We're going to talk a little bit about them, and we're going to see if we can find them. Let's go. Alrighty, right there. There's the Zerilli family plots. And you can see the family members that are buried here. Antonino Zerilli, Rosalia, Giuseppe, there's Joe Zerilli, Giovanna Zerilli, Joseph Zerilli, sadly born and passed away in 1931, 1929. Up here you see Grace, Jenny, and Tony Z, Antonino. And we'll talk about him in a minute, but let me start by talking about Joe Zerilli, because he was one of the founding members. You can see his picture right there of the Detroit partnership. He was actually born in Sicily, and he came over here at around the age of 17 in 1914. And he started working in Detroit, but shortly after he came here, he joined the Purple Gang. And right after that, he became in charge of the criminal operations for them, right here in Detroit. Now, when they formed what was to be the Detroit Partnership in the early years, William Black Bill Toko was the official boss, but Zerilli succeeded him. Now, in 1931, Lucky Luciano of New York formed the commission. And you can check out my video on Lucky Luciano. I visited his grave in New York, and that was very interesting to see, and I talk more about Lucky in that video. But what the commission did, it brought together 7 family bosses. And after a 1956 commission meeting, the crime families of Philadelphia, headed by Angelo Bruno, and Detroit, headed by Zerilli, were added to the commission. Now, after more than 40 years, Zerilli retired from racketeering in 1970. Now, the Zerillis were also connected to the disappearance of Jimmy Hoffa, because Hoffa was going to meet with Anthony Giacalone. I did a separate video on him from his grave in another cemetery outside Detroit. It was October 30th, 1977. Joseph Zerilli died of natural causes. Then in 1970, his son, Anthony, Tony Zerilli, takes over as acting boss. And according to the Detroit partnership chart that I was looking at, it looked like it was from 1970 to 1974. Now in 1974, Blackjack Toko takes over. And he would end up becoming the longest serving Don in history of any crime family. It's right here. The Zerilli family here in Detroit is just, they were the boss. I mean, they were the boss. Zerilli and Toko were the bosses. Now, remember me telling you that there was some speculation that Zerillis were involved with Hoffa's disappearance? Well, in June 2013, the FBI even dug up property owning to Blackjack Toko in Oakland Township in search of Hoffa's body. See, Tony Z, he turned on him. And he said that Toko had planned to murder Hoffa. He also told the feds that Hoffa was murdered on Toko's property, beaten to death with a shovel, and buried there.
The scene of the search on Monday, Zerilli's representatives were passing out this manuscript, which is being sold on the new website, HoffaFound.com. It appears to be authored by Zerilli, and in it, he writes Hoffa was driven out to a farm that was once owned by suspected Detroit mob boss Jack Toko.
So, I don't know, is Zerilli, were they involved with Hoffa's disappearance? Did Tony Z flipping on Toko, was that true? Was Hoffa's body or the weapons on Toko's property? Was that where Jimmy Hoffa met his demise? I don't know. But I do know in Detroit, the Zerillis are infamous in the circle of organized crime. Now, I'm really glad that you guys came with me today to check out the graves of Joe Old Man Zerilli and Tony Z. I always have to remember that these people, even organized crime figures, or even those suspected of organized crime, they have families. And I always, when I visit a grave, I always want to do it respectfully and just tell you a little bit about them, because a lot of times you've heard the name or you've heard the legend of that figure. So I just want to come respectfully tell you about them and show you where they're laid to rest. And I'm really glad that you guys came along with me. Now, check out my other videos. Like I had mentioned, I have videos from the Cemetery of the Gangsters in Chicago, Dillinger's Grave in Indiana, Gaudy, Luciano, all of those ones in New York. Graves from all across the country, and I want you to come along. Now hit that like and subscribe button. We will go on more adventures. Until next time, guys, from right outside Detroit, Michigan, it's your friend Chris. Peace.